And he walks away. Hi, everybody. Welcome to What You Need to Know. I am Sybil Wilkes. Happy Monday to you. It is Monday, the 25th of January. And boy, the month is flying by already. This is an indication of, indication of how things are going to go. I'm so glad to have back with us every Monday our social activist, Coy Malone. How you doing, Coy?
Hey, I'm doing wonderful. How are you doing today, Sybil?
Great. Glad to have you and see your different hairstyle every day practically, but glad to see, the different hair today. As always.
If I turn around, there's a party going on in the back too.
So you got something here and a party going on in the back too?
Yeah,
Okay.
a whole design going on back here. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah.
Man.
Okay. And there goes the camera. And also, I'm not sure what he has going on in the front up here or if he has something going on in the back, but always a man with something going on. Our friend, hello, Guy Torry.
Yes, to me, I have a different hairstyle too every day. A little more gray over here, a little receding over here. Trying to fight that LeBron sunroof right here. So I have a different hairstyle every day. When I wake up, it's like, man, God is my barber. God is my barber.
and your barber has a tremendous sense of humor, doesn't he?
Oh, man. Does he?
And joining us for the first time is a young lady that we are very excited to welcome. Hello, Brandi Williams. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm great. Do you have something? We can't see you very well because you have this dramatic lighting, but do you have something going on in the front and then a little something going on in the back? That's okay.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I don't have anything going on in the front and the back.
Don't change it. That was great lighting. I really loved it.
Yes.
I loved it. Yeah, absolutely.
I thought you were going to go,
So, Brandi, our friend Coy had suggested that we have you on. She said, you must please bring on my friend Brandi and want to talk about what you do and how involved you are. Now, I knew about the Hip Hop Caucus. Explain to people what that is.
So the Hip Hop Caucus is a national nonpartisan nonprofit organization that uses hip hop culture to connect people to the civic process. We've been around since 2008 doing this work. So, yeah.
Have you been a part of it since then?
I've been around since 2010. So I started off.
So pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, you started off as
the chair for the Charlotte Leadership Committee. And so I actually started off as the chair for the Charlotte Leadership Committee, continued to work with them, and then moved into an organizing role to help with the 2016 presidential election. And then this year for the presidential election, they reached back out and said, we want you to help in a national capacity again. And so we've been rocking ever since. And I just recently, as of today, they announced that I'm actually a part of the national staff full-time as a national organizer. So I'm super excited about the opportunity and to continue doing this work.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's awesome. And so in that particular role now, what does that mean?
So I'll be continuing the organizing work. So for us, in looking after the presidential election, usually the Respect My Vote campaign that we do during the presidential election stops. It's not going to stop this time. Much like we want people to keep the same energy that we had going into the 2020 election, we want to really push them to understand that we have to be organizing and holding people accountable all the time. So that's what I'll be doing, mobilizing the grassroots organizers, activists, building with our leadership committees, because we have leadership committees across the country. And so building with them, focusing a lot on the voter suppression issues in North Carolina, Georgia, Maryland, looking at making sure that the John Lewis Voting Rights Act gets passed, as well as continuing our work with climate justice.
Now,
so I'm sorry, Guy, go ahead.
I was going to ask you, are you all focusing on the next big election in 2 years?
So we're focusing on the elections coming up. There are a lot of local elections coming up. And, as you know, local matters. And so we really want people to be engaged in the process at all times. So not to just think about the presidential election. And I think that was the beauty of this 2020 presidential campaign, is that we had the opportunity to do that. We had the opportunity to actually be able to get people to see that their vote counted. I think a lot of times they think my vote doesn't count. And they were able to see that when we show up and we do what we're supposed to do, things actually work in our favor.
So Hip Hop Caucus is something that came out of 4 organizations, correct?
Yes, it did.
And so Hip Hop Summit, many of us are familiar with the Action Network. There's also Sean Diddy Combs' Citizen Change. So of course, we know Vote or Die. Jay-Z's Voice Your Choice, and the AFL-CIO's Hip Hop Voices. A lot of people don't know about labor's involvement, in the younger Black culture. They're not aware of it, are they?
No, they are not. But I think it's extremely important. I think, especially now, we're at a pivotal point with hip hop where we span so many generations. And so there's an opportunity for us to be able to educate. So you have the opportunity for those of us that grew up in hip hop to be able to teach those that are coming up in hip hop how to leverage the culture and leverage the power of the culture for everything from jobs to climate to housing, everything.
And so here we are. We're not even a full week into the Biden administration. Already people are giving him grades. The polling results are coming out and all of these things. And I know that as a part of what you all do, you're looking at some things that you would like to see the Biden administration do, especially in terms of climate and the environment and things like that, amongst other things. But just off the top of your head, let's just say since November 7th, when he was officially recognized as the president-elect, up until January, now we are at the 25th, what kind of grade, or how do you think he's doing so far?
I think he hit the ground running, especially with the climate executive orders that he started to work on right before we got on, seeing that, we've already confirmed our, next U.S. treasurer. So I think there's a lot that's happening. He's moving. I just hope he keeps that same energy and that same momentum. But I would like to see him dig a little deeper and think really hard about the policies that he's putting in place that really impact Black and Brown communities, so that it's not as soft as it has been in the past, that he really takes an aggressive stand to help support the people that put him in office.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Janet Yellen has been confirmed by the Senate this afternoon or evening, and she is the first female to head the Treasury Department. And of course, on Friday, we got word that General Lloyd Austin had been confirmed, and it is now the first Black man to head the Defense Department, the Pentagon, the whole muckety muck, which is big. And Guy, I wanted to ask you about your thoughts on that, because as the son of a military man, as the brother of a military man, you come from a military family, obviously. So what are your thoughts on Lloyd Austin and this change and this him being the first?
It's great. I mean, this last few years been a first of a lot, even with the Donald. But just being, if he's anything like my dad, and military wise, I mean, Pentagon's gonna be in great shape, because I'm OCD and very disciplined and very focused because of my dad raising me that way. But my dad went to the extreme where we actually had Army bunk beds in the house.
Wow! Oh gosh.
But at the end of the day, I mean, it turned out to be great. So having someone, and I think when you're Black, it's like also when you're a woman, that microscope is on you, so you have to work 20 times as hard. Yeah. And him being in that position, he knows the spotlight is on him, and he knows he has to work 20 times as hard because he's Black, and he's the first, and it's the Pentagon. So I salute him and support him, and he'll be added to the prayer list because he's gonna need it.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, he's coming. This last 4 years have been such a cluster,
Yeah.
But that he got every department has a lot of cleaning up to do. They're talking about with the corona, with the vaccine. having to clean that up, and they just don't trust anything that came out of the last administration. And so he has his work cut out for him. And but that's what they do. Whenever America messes up, it comes a black to save the day. Yeah. And when the NBA was failing, here come Magic Johnson and then Michael Jordan to save the day. When baseball went through, when football, when the world was messed up, Black Obama came in and saved the day. When they're trying to start a new network, UPN and the WB back in the day, black shows and Fox saved the day with regular Fox, not Fox News. So here comes again. They need a black man to straighten shit out.
Yeah. No, say it like it is. That's the truth. That's the truth. Hey, Brandi, I know you're in the car. If you need a second to change locations or something, if you'll let us know, and we can do that, and then you'll come back on with us whenever you're ready. Okay.
Yeah, that I'll probably do. We just finished our COVID test, so.
Oh, okay. So we can see you backstage, and you can let us know when you're ready to come back in. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Just give us the thumbs up or wave, or say, "Hey, drama lady over here with the great lighting." Okay, so we're gonna take you out, and we're gonna give you a second to get into place. All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. That, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, that's Brandi Williams, and we just scratched the surface in our conversation with her in talking about Hip Hop Caucus, and when she comes back, we'll also talk about her company Soul Med.
Great information too.
Yeah, very much so. Let me ask you this, Guy, because and you too, Coy, in terms of just because we have not talked since the inauguration and leading up to it, because you've been so busy, and we've missed you. May I just say that?
And I miss being on.
Yolanda wants you to know she misses you more than anyone, and so she's glad to have you back, as we all are.
Good to be back. Thank you, Yos.
Let me ask you guys this: what grade would you give the Biden administration? And let's talk about the president and the MVP, Madam Vice President, in terms of the things that you've seen or that you want them to do in this first week of being in office, but also leading up to.
Ladies first.
I would give President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris an A. I like the fact that they stepped in, the things that they talked about as far as getting things started and launched. Let's immediately sign these executive orders. We're not going to talk about it. We're going to be about it. One of the things that I saw today, that it made my day. Today, they are pushing to get Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill. A lot of people forgot about that.
That's exactly what I wanted to mention.
They forgot about that. I've been asking about this for years. Where's my girl Harriet on the $20 bill? We were ready to make it rain like that in the club. Okay, I just can't wait for this moment.
Coy, and you were ready to make it rain with Harriet 20?
You was Harriet, I was, and it just got swept under the rug. And
well, in the last administration, right?
Yes, it
did.
And,
well, he said that.
Yeah, he did. It wasn't a sweeping. It was just a big old out of here.
I was doing a whole bit on that for years when they announced Harriet being on the $20 bill, and I had a bit that I made blow the dust off again this weekend in Jackson, Mississippi at Chuckles. But no, I had a whole bit about how white people were mad that not all. Were mad that Harris was going to be on the $20 bill. I'm like, really? We want one person on a $20 bill and y'all mad? Mind you, I don't know if they still plan on having Andrew Jackson on the back, which is crazy to me.
Talk about that today.
And I'm like, but Master's still on our back. Damn.
Right. Yeah.
Why can't she have the money to herself? Why are we gonna have a former slave owner on the back?
Right.
So, sidebar, I don't know how accurate this is. I came across this on social media that a woman created the portrait that we see on the dime. A Black woman created that artwork. No credit given to her whatsoever. So
I will tell you, it was a little known Black history fact, and we should bring it back. And especially now that we're talking about this. But does it not just astound you sometimes just how incredible we are as a people and our talents and our gifts, and we don't celebrate them enough. But I'm so excited, and I was watching the press conference today with Press Secretary Jen Psaki, and someone asked her about the $20 bill, and she said, this was she said, I was here at the White House at the time when this was announced, and then we left, and of course it was supposed to happen, but it was tossed out by the Trump administration. She said, right. But I can tell you that it is coming back, and we are going to make that happen. And
that's the thing. I mean, they're on the penny, the nickel, the dime, the quarter, 50-cent piece, the Susan Anthony, the Bow dollar, the dollar, the $5, the $10, the $50, and the $100, and we ain't worth $20 damn. Right. Everything we did for America, and we ain't worth $20 damn.
Right. So that's exciting, and I'm glad you brought that up, because it is something that we need to talk about and keep the fire under them.
But let me say this, and I could be wrong, and I've researched it, and there's some debate about it. There is a black man on the back of a $2 bill, though. John Hanson.
Oh, okay.
and it's a black man. If you look at the $2 bill, if you turn over the $2 bill, you look, it looked like an ink smudge, but it's not. It's a brother.
Right. It's a brother.
John Hanson. And then some reports say, no, he's just a dark-skinned Italian or something like that.
Right.
No, he's a black man. When they had presidents. So so Harry Tubman will be the second, but the first officially. I wonder that's why, if they say that's why $2 bills are bad luck, because the brother on it.
It might be.
You don't see a lot of $2 bills out there in circulation.
I think they stopped it. Didn't they stop printing the $2 bills?
Right, because they found out a brother was on the back.
My dad gave me a whole bunch, so I might be the keeper of them.
Keep them. Don't
have them all. Yeah, I used to have them. A friend of my mom's used to give me a stack of $2 bills for my birthday. Remember those years, Guy, when you used to get money for your birthday?
Yeah.
And I miss those days. But it is something that I had too, and it was great to give to to Sky Caps and to Bellman and folks like that. And they always looked at the back, Guy, and said, that's a brother on there. Yeah. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
But now I wonder how many $2 bills are left, because COVID. Some people had to cash some $2 bills in.
Right.
Well, okay. Well, we know where to go get them if we want. We can go to Coy.
Controversially, and this is another thing. Like I said, social media turns into a rabbit hole with this information.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Apparently, I want to say it's on the $1 bill where it shows the White House. And there's supposed to be a lamp hanging in front. Apparently, it's not a lamp. Apparently, it's a black person hanging.
Really?
This is what this is what has been said. It's I hate talking about it, but I mean,
and that's been around for a long time too, Coy.
Mm-hmm. I didn't hear that one. That's a new one.
Yeah,
because they didn't have lamps back then.
Well, they had to have something.
I want no cues back then online.
And speaking of Guy going to Jackson, Mississippi, that is Coy's old stomping ground. She went to
Really? Jackson. Hey, yep. I don't know if on my Instagram I put together a highlight reel of for Deion Sanders in case they need a running back. Now I still got some college eligibility left. So if you have any insight down there, Coy, make a call. And
they started on a 4-year scholarship.
Yeah, I got 3 years of eligibility left. 3 years. I can tell you. It's from 1986. So I showed it to my nephew, and he says it looked like World War II footage.
Is this your nephew, the soccer player?
Yeah. He's over in Malta. Kicking that ball around.
Oh, nice. How are things going for him, by the way?
Good. We're praying for him. He hasn't been home just as long as I think he's ever been away from home.
Yeah.
And then half around the world, basically. So he's doing great. Doing great over there.
Guy's nephew is a professional soccer player, and as he said, is playing in Malta. And I just think that is just so cool that he's able to travel and to do what he loves and to have a great time. Okay, so not having such a great time, but we really don't know what's going on in their world is the world of Donald Trump. But the trial, the impeachment, as we know, that was decided 2 weeks ago, this coming Wednesday. And they did impeach him in the House. And so finally tonight,
yes,
in the article of impeachment, they're making that solemn trek from the House to the Senate side to deliver this article of impeachment. And the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has announced that the impeachment trial will begin the week of February 8th. It'll probably begin on that Tuesday, thereafter on the 9th. They are now looking at being able to multitask in the Senate, you guys.
Right. Confirmations.
Do you think they'll be able to confirm people and hold a trial? That's the big question, because I guess we don't pay them enough to do double duty.
Walk and chew gum at the same time.
Right. But a lot of questions as to who is going to be a part of the defense team for Donald Trump. We know that it's not going to be Giuliani.
Right.
We know
he can't get his money from Trump.
Come on. Lord knows he probably needs the money so bad. And the other thing that has come out is because Donald Trump has left office, because it is not a president who is being impeached, it's a former president.
Right.
The Chief Justice, John Roberts, is not going to sit as the judge in this case. It's going to be the pro tem, President pro tem, and that is Patrick, what is it from?
Mahomes. No, I'm joking.
Close. But he's one of the old heads from the Senate, and he is going to be the judge in this case.
I have a question for you two. What do you all think is more important? The confirmations or the impeachment?
I think they're both equally as important.
Okay.
Because we definitely do want to see the confirmations happen. Now I'm excited about that. The impeachment, I don't know. My only thing with the impeachment is like, man, we cannot get Donald Trump off our screen. Like, when is he gonna go?
That's a good point. But we want him done immediately, because if we let this go, I'm afraid they'll lose focus. You know what I mean? And so I want to see him put on trial, to have them decide, and to have those Republicans decide one way or the other. Are you with them or against them? Because we need to know for the next round in 2022, when 1/3 of you all are up for re-election or election.
But also, if he is impeached this time again in the Senate, then it just shows the precedence for future presidents. You can't pull this crap.
Right.
This is what will happen to you. And I wish they convict him to the full extent of the law, because you can't do what he did, and it will stop anyone from thinking about, what he did.
Exactly. Welcome back, Brandi. Can you hear us? We can't hear you.
I can.
Okay, here we go.
I actually was having a hard time getting the mute off, but thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Oh, we appreciate you coming back. You could have just driven off, Said, okay. See y'all. Brandi, what are your thoughts about the impeachment and the second impeachment of Donald Trump and this upcoming trial? Do you think they can do both? They can confirm the important members of the Biden administration, the cabinet, and hold a trial?
That's a tall ask and a tall order, but I think that they'll be able to do it. And I think they're going to do it because they know that we're holding them accountable. And like you said, there are more people on the ballot this coming year. So they know that we mean business. So they're going to have to figure it out.
Yeah. Brandi, one of the things that I saw the other day was the meeting of the Democratic National Committee, in which they announced that Jamie Harrison is going to be the new chairman of the DNC, and other people like the mayor of Atlanta, Keisha Lance Bottoms, is going to be a vice chair, and how important they recognize, and those folks who have been in the trenches recognize the importance that this is not the time to rest on the laurels, that there is so much work that still needs to be done, and especially because the majority in the House is so small for the Democrats,
right?
and even smaller is the leadership of the Democrats in the Senate. And so this is really the time that you cannot just say, "Whoo, we did it, didn't we?" They really have to come forth, don't they?
They do, and we have to. And so that's why I think the role that I'm in now is so important, because it gives us an opportunity to continue the education. One of the things that I realized as we went through this process is how much people didn't understand civics and what happens from a civic perspective. And so this gives us an opportunity to educate while we, tell them how to hold them accountable. So I think, along with the fact that they can't stop because they know they have elections coming up, it puts us in a very good position to hold them accountable and continue to make sure that we get what we need if we show up.
Yeah, and showing up is the most important thing. And of course, the challenges have never been greater as they were in this last election, this past year. And so if we could do it then, we can certainly do whatever comes forth and whatever obstacles are thrown our way. And certainly they're working on it. The Republicans are working on throwing up those obstacles and making it as difficult, if not more difficult, as it has been in the past. One thing I did want to mention about the impeachment managers, we have two African Americans who are a part of the management team as they present. These are the ones who are going to present the case against Donald Trump. And that is delegate from the Virgin Islands, USVI, that is Stacey Plackett, and the first African American to represent the state of Colorado in the House of Representatives. His name is Joe Neguse, and he too is going to be one of the lawyers as they present the case against Donald Trump. And I love that Stacey Plackett tried to get this job the first time around, and she wasn't given the opportunity. And I guess, and I don't want to say that job was given to Val Demings, but Val Demings was the African American woman in that particular, right? And so now, and Stacey Plackett, she pitched herself to the Speaker of the House, and it didn't happen the first time, but so glad that persistence pays off, and I think she's going to be a real, and she's and she don't play, right? She's been in the DA's office in Brooklyn, I believe, as well as playing a part in the Justice Department, and so it's going to be interesting to watch her at work. And see how this all plays out. Coy, before we get too far into the evening, I want to talk about your social justice story, and you can see this on our newsletter every day. And for those of you who do not know about our little newsletter, it's called What You Need to Know. And every day, Monday through Friday, we put the newsletter together, and if you give us your email address, we'll have it to you first thing in the morning, every Monday through Friday morning, and it's free, absolutely free. So
gotta bring your own coffee. She ain't providing the coffee, but you gotta bring your own coffee.
Oh, we do pour some tea every once in a while.
Right.
So if you go to SybilWilkes.com, that's Sybil like the crazy girl, Wilkes like John Wilkes Booth, and the name my mama and daddy gave me, and that's how you get to us on the website. And then please, and it makes a wonderful gift, a post King Day holiday gift, or if you maybe Groundhog Day, I don't know. Coy, you always take on the heavy topics, and today I want to talk about today, and I also want to talk about tomorrow, because tomorrow is heavy, but it shows your heart and your fandom and fanhood. But for today's What You Need to Know newsletter, you talk about the federal executions that Donald Trump had revived during the latter days of his administration, and how the Black people, and especially these two Black men who were executed. So if you can tell us a little bit about that story.
Yeah, so as we reported in December about the President Trump administration, who was putting basically a rush order on federal executions, he ended up being the president who has conducted the most executions within the last 100 years. So they went ahead and executed two more persons who were in prison, making them the 12th and 13th people executed under federal order of, and these were Corey Johnson and Dustin Higgs. They were both Black. The issue with these two executions in particular, is these two prisoners just contracted COVID-19. They were still in the process of recovering from their COVID infections. What their attorneys were arguing is that when they're administered the lethal injection of pentobarbital, that it would cause excruciating pain, which would be similar to like drowning and waterboarding. And so they were asking for a stay to pause the actual execution, which they've already have argued for in the case of Corey Johnson, because during his incarceration, they found that he was tested numerous times throughout his childhood and found that he is mentally disabled. So they didn't feel like he was capable of committing the crimes he was convicted of, which was drug trafficking and murders. And then with Dustin Higgs, throughout his incarceration, he maintained his innocence, that he was not the murderer in the case. And in fact, one of the other persons that did commit the murders, who is also on death row, is the person who was the trigger man. That's the person that committed the murders. And so we're coming to a point where we do understand that, yes, justice does need to be served. We understand that. We understand that a crime has possibly been committed. What we also understand, and what we found, is that a lot of persons that are on death row, it is disproportionately affecting Black people. It's disproportionately affecting people of color. There are often times where, and President Joe Biden has said this in the recent past, within the last 2 months, that what he is starting to see is, with this disproportionate effect on Black people, we're starting to have people that are innocent that are being placed on death row, that are being placed to death. There's been examples here in Georgia. I forget the young man that was convicted, sentenced to death a couple of years ago. This is just things that just happens. And he has actually vowed to end the death penalty, basically stating that he understands it does affect people of color and Black people at a higher rate. And then we also had our new justices, Sotomayor, Breyer, and Kagan, who disagreed with the Supreme Court in vacating the stays for Corey Johnson and Dustin Higgs, but they went ahead and executed these last two persons under the Trump administration. And it's just kind of sad to see, because, like we said, the federal death penalty had been on hiatus for 17 years. There is a reason why this has happened. We have started to look at the criminal justice system and see that it does need to be reformed in different ways. However, for whatever reason, President Trump thought, I guess it was patriotic of him to go ahead and execute these persons, whether or not they're innocent. And so it's just, to me, it's a little bit alarming to see that. And then to also see that even if someone is guilty, we got to kind of understand that they're still a person. They do still, deserve a fair trial, and their life matters. Like, why
they still have
torture them? Right. They have human rights. So we have to look at it from that angle. And it was just a little bit disturbing to see that this happened.
It was a lot disturbing, and their attorneys, fought to the very end and tried to talk about the effect of this drug on these men who are recovering from coronavirus, and it's just using everything at their disposal to try to turn this around. And unfortunately, it did not happen. And a lot of this, Brandi, I wanted to talk to you and move in the direction of what you do, and to talk about Soul Med, because it really, a lot of these cases, a lot of these things come as a result of people having some mental challenges or having mental health issues. And I wanted to talk about your organization, your company, and what that looks like. And is it a possibility that that we could eventually go into if it's not already happening, go into the prison system and help our people who are going through these mental health issues?
So I definitely think there's a possibility. There just has to be the opportunity for it to happen. So I'm actually based in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we have a new sheriff. I say new because he's only been in office probably about 2 years, a 4-year term. So he served half the term. And several of the things that he did when he got into office helped to support prisoners' mental health and their health and well-being. So everything from providing toiletries to women, to allowing people to come in and adopt pods to help them with mental health. There are lots of programs and services that he put in. So I think there has to be the political will and the will to make that happen, and we can do that. So it's not an issue of whether or not it can happen. It is happening. And so we just have to make sure that we have that political will. I definitely think mental health is an issue. I took a class, it's called Embodied Social Justice. And what it talks about is how we hold a lot of the trauma from our history in our body. And so we live constantly in that trauma, and we're feeding, and our body's feeding off of that. And so it also impacts our overall health. And so that's what's really important, I think, to really understand the connection between what's going on in your mind, your body, and what you're putting into your body. I think we don't always consider those things, and they're really important. And we don't consider how the trauma that's living in us feeds the mental health issues that we have. And so we have to address those things and continue to address them. And that's why it's so important, going back to what we talked about in terms of the election, that we make sure that we are working to get what we need, because if we're living in places that aren't healthy for us, that just continues to feed that trauma and feed the mental health issues that we have.
Guy, you're a good example of this, and this is something we talked about during the coronavirus, during the pandemic and the lockdown. But also, you're working that you do over the years with the homeless and other organizations in Los Angeles, right?
Yeah, and that's what to bring that point up. Is like a lot of the homies, I like to call them. I hate when people call them bums. That's something that gets under my skin when they call them bums. Because a lot of people down on Skid Row are veterans, former veterans who fought in Iraq, fought in Vietnam, fought in Afghanistan, and was got kicked to the side. But a lot of it is PTSD that have never been dealt with, and the mental illness in our prisons and our streets are filled with people who are mentally ill. And I've yet to see any politician other than John Kasich really be on the bandwagon for mental illness. And it's a little scary now, because living downtown Los Angeles, I'm starting to see, because of the pandemic, people have lost jobs or not able to get their meds. So it's growing. It's growing downtown on Skid Row now because of the coronavirus, and not to mention the coronavirus probably being down there. Yeah, and it's kind of tough to it's a hard decision to make. You pray and you go on, but to want to help, but at the same time, you can be putting yourself and your family at risk. Yeah. But I just think politicians need to deal with it more. And I talk to LA sheriffs all the time, and they say their hands are tied. But in some of them, they want to go take a water hose and get rid of it. They really don't even care about the homeless. The LAPD, most, and ones I've talked to, was sad that they don't see them as a life that matters. And so something needs to be done. And it's just sad to keep seeing this cycle. And now it's going to get worse because of the pandemic. Yeah. But somebody needs to step up.
Yeah.
Brandi, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Coy.
I was going to add that also did research on, believe it or not, one of the biggest mental health facilities is actually a prison in Chicago, and I want to say that's Cook County, isn't it?
It's Cook County Jail. Yeah.
Cook County Jail, and they have begun an intake process where, when they're intaking inmates, they ask them about their mental health state. Do you feel like killing yourself? Have you lost hope in life? This is a process that they have instituted within this jail, because they realize that within this facility, in this city alone, they are dealing with more mental health patients than they are criminals. And these people have just looked for other avenues to express their anger and their pain. And so that's something I'm happy to see, but then still at the same time, there is still a big issue that needs to be addressed when it comes to mental health as it relates to criminals.
Let me give a shout out to my hometown of Chicago. I don't often get a chance to do that because so much is happening and crumbling around in my city. But this is a shout out to not only to those folks that are doing it, but a shout out to Reverend Jesse Jackson, because for as long as I can remember, and I've been around a long time, as long as I can remember, he has gone to Cook County Jail and to the jails in the state and has spent his holidays and other days going and ministering to the people who are there, who are being held, and has always given them the will and tried to inspire them to go on. That is something that he has. I mean, when I was a little girl, we would hear the news stories on Christmas Day of Reverend Jesse Jackson and his family and friends going to minister to them. The second thing is there's a sheriff, and I think he's the sheriff. His name is Tom Dart, and he has done tremendous work with the prisoners, and as well as for their mental health, Coy, as we're talking about, but also in terms of getting them on the track to life outside once they are making that transition, and it's really quite admirable. So and that's a good thing that I can share with folks about my town. Brandi, tell people how Soul Med came to be and how people can get in touch with you.
So Soul Med is actually a love project for me because I suffer from anxiety and depression and lived with it for many years before I realized exactly what was going on. And once I was diagnosed, I started to think about what are some of the things that I could do. My doctor put me on medication, right? I wanted to refuse the medication. I didn't want to be on it. But I noticed that whenever I started to feel anxious, I would talk to myself. So I wrote a book of affirmations. And so the business started from there. From the book, a workshop, from the workshop, the whole business. And it really is about focusing on helping Black women decrease their stress and improve their mental health through a holistic approach, everything from nutrition to finances, relationships. So we talk about it all. And it's extremely important to me because I still struggle every single day. I get anxiety from having to do things like this. And my background is in public relations, and I've never struggled with being in front of people. But again, that suppressed trauma over the years, it starts to resurface, and you feel the effects of it. So that's how it started. And they can, you can find me at soulmed.co. That's the website, social media. So you can find me there. We do habit-based coaching. So the goal is for people to start to figure out how to change their lifestyle and implement healthier habits, from thinking healthier, reducing negative self-talk, how to use affirmations to help, how to eat. So Coy is actually in one of my challenges right now. It's a 28-day total body challenge. It's a nutritional challenge. 4 simple habits that you can do to help improve your energy, your mind, reduce your, lose weight, all the things, but it's going to make you healthier. And everybody, we were on our group coaching call last night, and almost everybody talked about how their energy level has gone up since they've started the challenge. So those are the things that I want people to see and understand and know, that you can make small incremental changes that will change your life.
Yeah, I need that challenge.
And I gotta tell you, a guy would be one of your most diligent followers, because he's very focused that way. And so I highly recommend that folks go to soulmed.co and get started. We try to do a little of that every day on the newsletter, Brandi. With the news and the information. We also have a health and wellness. We have finance and business. And this year we have started with Yogi's Jewels. Yogi is our Yolanda Starks White, and she has had books and workbooks and things, and she's one of those people that encourages people and has all of these sayings, and so, in daily inspirations. And just today, just to give a little idea of what what Coy and I have to listen to every day.
But we appreciate it, though.
Yes, good answer, Coy. Good. Today is actively work on your purpose, and your purpose will soothe your soul. And that's, and everybody needs that, Brandi. You've recognized that, that we all need that lift. We need those words of inspiration. And as much as we can encourage each other to go to organizations, to go to websites, to go to and have conversation with people, and not run away from the talk, but to embrace the change and embrace all of the things, and not embrace the trauma, but to accept it and embrace the person that you want to leave behind, as well as the person that you are becoming, that you are going to.
That work for family too.
It does, actually. It does.
I got some mofos I want to leave behind in my family.
Listen, but like, we're laughing about it, but I literally had a conversation. I won't say which family member, but I had to like literally set some boundaries and let them know that you're trying to emotionally manipulate me. And in the past, I would have accepted it because of the role that they play in my life. And I told them, I said, I'm not accepting that anymore. You can no longer emotionally manipulate me. And so I think it's extremely important. I felt so good after that. Like, it was a release. Yes, I don't want your junk. So you have to do that. You have to. And a lot of it is inner work. And I'll say this, I went to health coaching school after I decided that I was tired of PR, and I saw the impact that I was making with the book and the workshop. And I had so many revelations in that process that helped me uncover a lot of the traumatic experiences that shaped decisions that I made later in my life. And so I think it's extremely important that we do that work. So that's the real work that I really want to help my clients with, is to look inside and kind of see where that thing is that's influencing you subconsciously that you don't even know.
It's interesting you say that, because I said it about 2021. And 2020 was the year where everybody had the 2020 vision and their outlook. Well, I think it was more like 2020 vision to look within to see what you're made of, who's essential, who's not essential, what's not essential. I feel like 2020 was an assignment, and the assignment was to better yourself and focus on self. And I think this year is a reward. And like, it's 2020, I call it the year of Nate Robinson, because we all came out promising, we all came out like, yeah, and we ran out 2020, and then bam, got knocked in the face.
That is hilarious.
That's why he makes the big bucks, Guy Torry. Brings it home. One of the things that we talked about in today's newsletter was the loss that we had of the great Henry Aaron, and talked a little bit about, everybody knows about his breaking the home run record of Babe Ruth. And a lot of people have come to learn. That's right. And a lot of people have come to find out what he went through as he was going through that, what should have been an incredibly positive and exhilarating experience, was probably, he said, one of the lowest points of his life because of the threats on his life, having to have security and things like that. But he took that and took it and made, the lemonade out of these lemons of his life, and recognized his role and responsibility in helping and advising others. And I think that's the way we remember people like that. And I'm sorry.
It's crazy, his focus, what he was going through, and was still able to put up numbers. These ball players today, their girlfriend leaves them and they can't focus. Oh, yeah. And this guy was dealing, Mr. Aaron was dealing with death threats.
Yeah.
And still producing at a high level, a record-breaking level. And just amazing of how God wires some people.
Without steroids.
Without steroids. Yeah. And still having to, probably couldn't eat certain places and
Oh,
go to certain places and all of that.
That was a part of it, Guy. He could not even stay in the same hotel with
With
his
the
fellow
team.
players, right? Because they said because of the security aspect. And so he said there was one player who used to bring him dinner every night.
Wow.
And as far as the rest of the players, it wasn't happening. They weren't engaged with him and trying to develop a relationship to lift him up as he was going through this. The threats made to his family, his daughter in school, and things like that. You know, these are all things that
over
went
a
through.
game.
Oh.
A game. Y'all banging
Here's
on
the thing.
baseball.
Here's the thing. It was a game and a record set by a white man.
Right.
Mhm.
They said should not be broken by a black man, and they did not say black man.
Right.
And you had NBA players in the bubble couldn't focus. Oh, I'm in the bubble. I have 5-star restaurants I can go to. I have barbers that can come to me. You know, I can't go outside.
I gotta go get my lemon pepper wings from Mac.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was there for the breast and the
pepper wings like that strip club. Yeah.
He was there for the breast and the thighs. He wasn't there for the wings.
No wings. No wings. So before we go tonight, that was my tribute to Henry Aaron and remembering that night, watching him and breaking that record. And so that was very powerful. But tomorrow is an anniversary of another sort. And that is the anniversary, and we lost Brandy. Hopefully she'll get back to us. Tomorrow is the anniversary, 1-year anniversary since the death of Kobe Bryant and his beloved daughter and the other members of the helicopter, including the pilot. And so,
can you explain why it's tomorrow, not today, like I thought? Can you explain it to those people out there who are dumb like me?
Not dumb. Everybody remembers where they were last year when we got the word about Kobe, and that was on a Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, right? Yeah. And so everybody assumed, well, you know, a year passed, and it would be today, but it's actually because we had leap year in between his death and now we had an extra day in February, thus leap year. And
I didn't know that. Thank you for clarifying that for me.
So Guy, I want you and Coy, I'd love to hear your conversation about your love for Kobe Bryant. Coy has written a beautiful piece for tomorrow's newsletter, a letter to Kobe about, you know, how, you know, she is, you know, the fan's fan when it comes to Kobe. And you live across the street from the basketball stadium. And
lucky you.
And you are to your bones.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I mean, I met Kobe when I was doing warm up for Moesha Brandy's show.
Oh wow!
And Kobe had come to the set, and I think he had taken her to a prom that year.
Right.
And I was doing a fill-in warm-up spot, and he came on set. So it was the first time I met him. And then he used to come to Fat Tuesdays, the comedy store, and he was too young to be in there, so we had to sneak him in the back. But he was always cool. You know, I get into, you know, debates about, you know, Kobe all the time, and people don't understand. I admire him for his work ethic. His work ethic was sick. He was the first one to call Tex Winter before Phil Jackson became the coach and said that he's alienating his teammates. He want to be a better team player, and he flew to Chicago and spent time with him and learned the triangle and everything. He's the first one who called Elijah Wan and said, "Hey, you're the big man with the best footwork in the game. I need you to teach me." He was a lot of firsts in a lot of things. When he practiced on his own, he'd have 3 people guarding him. One person was to body him, the other person was to block a shot, and the other one was to slap the ball. Because in game situations, when he's going up on 3 people, it's not nervous. It's like, this is what I do all the time. So he was way ahead of his time. And of course, he learned from the GOAT, Michael Jordan. And yes, I said that, Sybil. You know how I feel about Michael Jordan. He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. So, I mean, and Kobe is, like I said, when he passed away, I still sometimes just go, damn, Kobe, you know? And I was on my way to pick up my tuxedo to go to the Grammys, my first Grammys I was attending as a guest. And I almost didn't go because I'm like, forget it. And then I remember, wait, it's at Staples Center. Kobe helped build that place. And so I took Kobe's jersey with me to the Grammys last year. And it was like, it was sad. It was hard to enjoy. the Grammys, and it is still tough. We talked about it last night, a group of friends of ours, and it's just hard to believe still.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what Coy said, and in effect. And Coy, talks about being a little girl and her dad, as a fan, bringing her along and through this, right, Coy?
Yes, my dad is the Laker fan who raised a Laker fan. He always talked about Magic Johnson. We have old school Magic Johnson jerseys and what have you. So it was just natural for me to just like and appreciate the Lakers. Also being, from California, I mean, why not? And so when Kobe, came along, here comes this high school player that went into the NBA that was a superstar and just remained consistent throughout his career. It was like we're used to watching and almost betting on, yes, the Lakers are going to the championship and they're going to win. How much money do you want to bet on it? I was terrible. I was the worst person to take to Lakers games or to watch because it was just, I would be so loud. I would drown out everybody around.
And Coy, what did you take with you? What sign did you take with you to the Lakers game?
So, everybody was doing the whole dab thing and stuff. I made a whole dab sign. I was trying to get Kobe to dab after he slam dunked or scored on people, but I think I stepped so far up. But it didn't stop me from bringing my sign to every game. And, I went to quite a few of his games. And during his last year playing, I went to 2 of his games, one here in Atlanta and one in LA. And at the end of both games, everybody stood up and gave him a standing ovation. It was wonderful to see. It was just so I couldn't fathom not seeing Kobe on the court, not seeing Kobe suit up, not even seeing him on the sidelines. As many memes as I posted, stats, and as many times as I argued about it on the street, on Instagram, on Facebook, I just could not see Kobe not playing. So as a super fan, I wanted to continue doing that by following, what other kind of work does he have outside of endorsements that we've come to see throughout his career? He started different foundations. He had different business ventures and investments. And the foundations really did make a big impact on a lot of kids, especially in the LA area. He worked with different foundations that impacted a lot of youth, and most of which were children, people of color, which I was very glad to see, because you do see a lot of superstars that make their money and they're great with being that superstar. But once they're off the court, that's it. They don't want to do anything else. And I was just very happy to learn that about him. And, the Vanessa and Kobe Bryant Foundation that he and his wife started that worked with children's after school programs. And then you also had, he wrote books. He wrote children's books as well. He was a big advocate for literacy.
And don't forget his Oscar for his poem and doing that. So I wanted you guys, I'm so glad we were able to do this today and to be able to talk about somebody that meant so much to you. And he is, I think just like Henry Aaron is for so many people, Kobe is for you. And it's great to appreciate these people, but also a reminder, you guys, to appreciate us as each other while we're still here, right?
Yes.
Amen.
And because it is so short, and I really want you guys to read Coy's love letter to Kobe tomorrow in tomorrow's edition.
I want to call it a love letter.
I don't mean, oh, Kobe, I want to marry you.
Let me count the ways.
But a love and an admiration for a man of his stature, but his skills, his acumen, and his heart.
Yeah.
Right.
He was still through his career a family man. He made time for his family and for his daughters. And that's one of the things that I really appreciated that I looked at myself. I have a wonderful relationship with my dad. I'm a daddy's girl. My dad is always there for me. And he was that for his daughters. He even created a basketball team to cultivate to cultivate Gianna's basketball gift. Who started looking just like him, had a lot of his mannerisms and stuff like that. It was just amazing to see.
Yeah. So listen, you guys, we are
1987 in St. Louis.
Oh
Wow.
my goodness.
I've been a fan for a long time. And I hate people that say, well, I used to be a Laker fan until when Magic left or Shaq left. Or Look, and you weren't a Laker fan. You were a player fan.
Right.
Once you're a fan, I don't care who's on that team. If we go 0-82, I'm still a fan, ride or die.
Yeah.
That's right. I was ready to go into the game anytime. Look at me. I was ready to shoot. I was ready. Put me in, coach.
I still keep up. I'm on a group text on GroupMe with the Lakers group, and I keep up with my stats. That way, I'll read stories more so than I'll watch games. I catch highlights.
Then if that's the case, then I'm a Bulls, Bears, Cubs, Sox fan because they aren't winning a damn thing until.
As a matter of fact, the Lakers are coming on right now.
We finna cut it off.
In Cleveland. Yeah,
we finna cut
That's
it on.
right. That's right. Hey, Brandi, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you'll come back and give us updates on how things are going and what we can do.
Well, absolutely. Thank you for having me. I definitely would love to come back. Thank you, guys. This has been an amazing conversation. And I just appreciate the opportunity to be able to share and all that you guys do.
We appreciate you. It's Brandi Williams, and go to soulmed.co. Guy is going to be in Jackson, Mississippi this weekend.
Yes, at Chuckles Comedy Club, socially distanced. We'll be responsible. So yeah, come on out and have some laughs. I got a lot of new stuff to talk about.
I bet you do, and some old stuff you can bring back.
yeah, and I haven't been there since '98, so all of it's new to them. And Miss Pretty Ricky will be on the bill as well.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Tell her I said hello, please.
I will.
And Coy, we will read your letter of appreciation to Kobe tomorrow. Okay.
Yes.
In the newsletter.
Well, I will be posting a video update on that as well, and our story that we talked about today.
Oh, okay. All right.
Surprise.
She went to her professional voice right there.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening. We will see you all tomorrow. It's J. Anthony Brown Day tomorrow, so we'll see y'all with the craziness continues from one crazy guy, Torry, to J. Anthony Brown. Have a good evening, everybody. Thanks, Brandi. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.